Hello, everyone, and welcome to Edge Talk Radio. My name is Angela Zabel. That's me. And today we're going to be talking with Dr. Sharnael Wolverton Sehon, and we are going to be talking about unlocking the mysteries, healing miracles, and consciousness, and so much more. I can't wait to get into it. And who am I? My name is Angela Zabel. I am a teacher, coach, medium, working with the team in the non-physical my entire life, sharing messages from a multitude of realms. And with that, I also have the radio show host, retreat host, writer, gallery reader, speaker, doing speaking engagements, offering guidance, mediumship, intuitive guidance, with online and private group sessions, classes, and the Amplified Universe membership. This is something where you understand who we are as a soul, where we are going, our role in this world, and how we can navigate it. And with that, find me pretty much all the social media. Go to my website, angelazabel.com. And today, we are here, if I can get this centered right, there we go, with Edge Magazine is the leading events and media resource dedicated to all aspects of holistic living, health, and wellness, and the mysteries beyond, sharing information, wisdom, and resources committed in promoting businesses, organizations, and individuals who support our collective journey to wholeness and balance. They're currently distributed in 30 states plus Canada with over 17,000 magazines per printing, and they also have a vibrant online magazine with over 42,000 people reached per month. You can have the magazine shipped to your door, stay up to date with the newsletter, or become a drop spot. Go to their email and their website of theedgemagazine.net. And today, we are here with Dr. Sharnael Wolverton Sehon. She is a captivating multidisciplinary expert who seamlessly blends naturopathic medicine, spirituality, and quantum science to empower individuals on their journey to wholeness. As the founder of True TV and the author of 5 groundbreaking books, including The Science of Miracles, Remembering the Frequency of Love, and we're going to get into that. Dr. Sharnael offers a unique perspective on achieving optimal health and unlocking the human potential. Her global influence spans over 51 countries, where she shares the transformative insights through speaking engagements, online classes, and social media platforms. She also has over 15,000 online, remote, with her technology, long distance biofeedback clients. And you can find out more about her at Dr. Sharnael, and it's DrSharnael.com. And all those links will also be down below. She's also check her out on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, BitChute, Rumble, Telegram. She also has a private Facebook community. And that is all about, she has also self-guided digital workshops. And I checked on her website. There are so many things that you can go through that I think is going to resonate with a lot of different people. You can purchase those online sessions. You can download, listen to them, watch them. So much great information shared on there. And she's also the accomplished author of 5 books and an entrepreneur. Two of her most recent titles are The Science of Miracles, Remembering the Frequency of Love, The Keto Reset, 31 Days to a New Life, Crystals, Oils, and the Decrees Card Deck. So much here to unpack, and I am so excited to have you on, Charnel. So thank you so much for being here, and I've got to ask, how in the world did you get into this expansive entrepreneurship you have?
Yeah, a lot of time and dedication and hard choices. And I say hard choices because seemingly hard choices. But yeah, I just, like everybody else, kind of tried to go with the flow and do what I felt was the thing to do at the time. And ended up here, and I'm still in process. I'm honestly at the point where I'm still like, okay, what am I going to be when I grow up? I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm still there, it's like, okay, what else can we do here? But yeah, my background, I did a lot of conference speaking, and I still do conference speaking, but boy, a big difference in my schedule. Before, I was on 6 planes a week, and I did that about 17 years. Got very ill doing that, not because of maybe my time spent doing that or invested I should say. But just a multiple different things that kind of overlaid as far as like stress and, you know,
Mhm.
my schedule and my diet. There were several things. And so I tried to kind of figure out why I was sick and wasn't having the answers. Found someone that was having the answers after 7 years. They happened to be an MD, but also an ND. And that kind of led me down that path of like making some, again, I guess maybe not a hard choice to most people, but I had been so ingrained on the Western, like,
Mhm.
this is what you do growing up military, you do this, you do that, you listen to what everyone says. And to branch off literally from, what was politically acceptable at that time, being in the, growing up in the environment that I was in, I just went a different path. And then I ended up going back to school and felt really called, literally called to explore that more and to be more equipped in those type of resources and understanding of, and just being educated and trained to help as many people as possible. And the ministry sort of took a turn, because I still consider myself in ministry, but now without any confinement of like a church building or a retreat or and now it's just like, so I did television for years, and that, of course, gave me a lot of exposure and what have you. Um, but in making some of those choices, those doors were shut for me just because of um, the the limitations, I guess. But when we do what's in our heart and we are authentic with what we feel that GPS is saying, it doesn't really matter, because the doors open, even though doors close, there are doors that open, and anything less than our highest will always contain self-sabotage. So when we truly walk in the essence of what we are authentically born to do, and that's different for everyone, then we are totally God funded. The resources are there. We may not see how or when or what, but they just seem to, make a way, kind of like the Indiana Jones movie where he's standing on one side of the cliff and he's like, what do I do? And he takes that step and then the bridge just shows up. So that's kind of where I feel like I am every day. I don't know about you, Angela.
I love what you just said because I'm just a little segue. When I first started like doing group mediumship and knowing mediumship, you can't practice ahead of time. You don't know the answers that you have to trust. And that's what my team gave me to look at. They gave me that visual, exactly what you said, of looking across, not knowing how to go and trusting and stepping off the cliff onto that rock and knowing it's going to be there for you. So trust it. So I just love that you brought that up because That's so crazy.
That's
And and then when you said that we're always still learning, you're learning. I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up either. So I think we're in the same boat.
I think I had it in my mind that things would just get better and easier. And in a lot of ways, they are, because I'm in a different place, obviously, or not obviously, but, just, I don't know. But the choices are still there, no matter what age you are. And there are people who are in their late 60s or 70s that start a brand new career. And it's like, you know, um, I think the mentality that I grew up in is you went to school, you got out, you either went to college or you didn't, or you joined the military and you didn't. And then you did this one job like forever until you
Yeah.
retired. And then you did something else, or you didn't do anything. And it's just that was just a made up thing I made up, I guess, because obviously, not obviously, but I have just morphed and moved and added and taken away, and it's kind of like a big stew of life. It's like, do we want carrots? Do we want potatoes? Like, what are we going to put in the stew today?
I love that. It really is. There's so many things we've been taught as humans that we have been taught in all different levels. And it's really been I'm just gonna say, and I feel that the things I've done my research a little bit on you, and I feel like it's the same thing where it's been to disempower us a lot of the time. And I love the fact that you are helping so many people find their power. And there was a quote I had, it had the human body has that you had wrote, the human body has the capacity to heal itself, and I teach people how. And I feel that's something so important because you are there helping to empower people, helping them realize they can do it themselves. And then going with your book, the remembering who we are. I think that's so important. They want me to go into something with you, my team, and the non-physical is saying, you wrote The Science of Miracles, Remembering the Frequency of Love. What drew you to write that? What drew you into that frequency of remembering love?
Yeah, so I actually had an encounter. That book came out of an encounter.
Mhm.
So it wasn't even anything I had to sit down and think about or try to construct. It literally just came through me. I woke up one afternoon or one morning and I was just in a really what seemingly felt like a dark time. That's whenever I had made that choice to leave a relationship, and or the choice was made for me, I should say, to not be in the relationship that I was in anymore. So I found myself a single mom, three kids, um, really ill physically, and just trying to figure it out and really desperate in trying to know what the next steps were and to remember that. Um, so I was really seeking. I was doing a lot of praying, meditating, fasting, anything I knew at the time of what tools I had in the tool book, and walked out of my living room. I mean, walked out of my bedroom, and when I got to my living room, there were these two giant beings standing very tall. My ceilings are very, very tall, so I'm guessing around 14 to 16 feet, standing there, very iridescent, very luminous, um, celestial, iridescent, kind of pastel colors beaming in and out. And when they did have shape and form, as one looked like a woman and one looked more like a man, and just super terrified and felt like frozen. I mean, I just felt like, oh my God. And there were books also stacked everywhere, just as tall as I could see up, and they were just everywhere. They looked very ancient and very thick, and they were also very iridescent and kind of beaming in and out very quickly, uh, uh, like particles of, like almost like if you've ever seen a sunbeam go through dust and you can
Oh,
kind of
yes.
see it. It was like that, but iridescent. And um, I I remember hearing, don't be afraid. And then I calmed down a little bit, not much. The girl came around because there was this desk there. The girl came around and sat down at this desk and started to open up this book. I was
Mhm.
very curious and wanted to know what is in the book. Came around, started trying to peer over this ginormous being and look to see like what's in the book. And what it was just records and records of people and their names, what they were sick from, how they were healed, what different tools to heal this person, and what the date was, and then a new person and a new person. It was just lines and lines and lines of names and illnesses and resolution and dates. And I was just enthralled. I mean, my career at the time was complete ministry. I believed in healing. Um, and I didn't even know what a naturopath was. Like it was just, I had just been introduced to the concept, like I said, and it was like super foreign to me. And so all of these things in the book were very natural things, essential oils, crystals, herbs, things like that. Mostly essential oils, believe it or not.
Wow.
And I remember thinking, like, she looked over at me, the girl, and she said, "What do you want?" And I said, "I want to be a part of that." And I didn't even speak the words. I actually just thought it, and I didn't know she could hear me. But when she responded, I guess she like looked at the guy, and he was like, kind of made a face. And then she looked at me and was like, kind of like, okay. And then she got really, really stern and like just powerfully like pointed at me and looked at me and really scared me. And she just said, "Tell them they're not truly living unless they're living true." And then
Oh,
slammed the door, slammed the book, and everything just poofed, gone. And I was just gone. I tears
oh,
streaming down. I was shaking, like literally my body was vibrating from the inside out. I could barely stand up. I had to go sit down. I had all of these like formulas and colors and different things that were just coming in or through, that words I didn't know the name, I'd never heard of. I had taught on dreams and visions for years and intuition, and I know with dreams the big thing is to wake up and write it down. And
yeah.
so my first thought was, is this a dream? Did I make this up? Like, should I write it down? Like, so I'm grabbing everything thinking, I'm writing this down. I'm writing this down because I don't know if I just made the whole thing up. And after I wrote I'm still, I never woke up from that. So unless I'm still in a dream, I don't know. But after I had that, I was sharing, some of those things that happen, and some things I'm Googling and looking up, because I've never heard of like standing waves and echo waves, and stuff about the human technology that we have with the biofield, and the different colors, and yeah, just things that were so foreign to me. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's a thing. That's really that's really something. And some of the things I still haven't found out there that are even existing yet. So, but yeah, the whole thing came into a book, and it's called The Science of Miracles. And the whole thing was basically remembering like the frequency of love. Love to me is God, source, universe, creator. We are creatures and we're creators. And we all have this technology to create constantly. And we're either creating on purpose, like architects, like conscious architects, or we're just making things up based on what's coming out in the field, because this field is radiating, but it's also magnetizing. And so there's this torrid of energy that's constantly moving. And we have one, animals, plants, the earth, everything has one that's alive. And it's all adding to the collective earth resonance, or the Schumann. Um, and so yeah, that's where the book came from. And I've spent, that was in 2008-ish. And right shortly after that is when I really kept getting dreams and different kind of unctions to lean into the whole naturopathic um, realm, and really dive in with both feet on that. And I thought that I would use it to teach at these conferences that I was teaching at, and never thought I would have a practice or a building where people came to see me. Although that did happen now. I do have a practice as well, and I still teach and do conferences, and I also see people in person. So, and continue to do social media and write. And, you know, for me, if I can touch 1,000 people at one time with the same conversation, I would love that faster, because then people are all maybe hearing it, maybe deciding that this is a choice for them, maybe making some new changes in their life and having a better experience. And I also really enjoy the one-on-one of like eye contact and hugging someone, and that real, body to body type thing. So that's what I'm doing.
I love it. And where is your location? Can for people who may be in the area, where can they find you there?
Yes, I'm in Louisiana right now. I'm actually from Montana, and
Oh,
I've worked through with several wellness centers in different places. And then I do teach, like I just came back from LA and Miami. I'm going to be in New York and Tampa, or right outside of Tampa, in the next couple weeks, teaching at a couple conferences there too. So I love, for people to I love connecting in real life and hugging and signing books and hearing people's stories. And I love hearing miracles. For everyone who buys the book or invests in it, I always tell people, please report your miracles to me. Please tell me what happened, because you will have miracles. If you read this book and you apply the formulas are so easy. And I really believe that everyone should learn this or remember it, like from little, like kids, and people are using this book in homeschooling, and they're giving it to their kids because it's written in a form where kids can understand it and they can apply it. And I've had a lot of children that are bilocating, they're getting things that are lost come back to them. They're creating businesses, partnerships,
it.
doing miraculous things, and it's really cool.
I love that. I love the fact that it's reaching so many people. And I love when you talked about kids because the next generation is here. How are we going to bring them up? How are we going to introduce them to a lot of things that aren't introduced in the mainstream? And I'm just going to say, I keep hearing from my team, you have to realize what we're doing now will be the mainstream later. This is going to be the mainstream, and it's going to be a combination bringing things together. So I love the fact you've been ahead of the curve for a while on that. And my team also wants me to back up when you talked about seeing the beings, when you saw them in front of you, how you were scared, you were frightened. For people to realize, a lot of people say, I want to see these beings that are all around you. Well, just be prepared. It may be a frightening, it may be fearful because it's not the norm. And for people to realize it's okay, but no, there will be fear. As humans, there's going to be fear. We don't know. Our body says, is it fight or flight? What do we do? But you were here. I keep hearing, and my team is laughing. You've got the cat behind you too. They're also saying curiosity killed the cat with you because didn't kill that one, but you had to know. You had to move yourself forward. And what is your cat's name? I have to know.
This is Blue. I've actually found him in my daughter's driver's ed. She called me one day and she was like, there's a baby crying through the whole thing for driver's ed. And I was like, let me hear. And she's like, I can't figure it out. It's coming from the room next door. There's this baby crying. And I was like, I don't think that's a baby. I think it's a cat. And she just kept saying, no, I don't think so. Well, it was like literally this big. And
Wow.
I ran over there and we had to get one of those God, what do they call those things? I always have a blank on it. A crowbar. And
Oh,
we had to break the sheetrock. He
oh,
had like fallen in through like a couple slats in the wall, like in between the sheetrock tubes,
wow.
and was stuck in there. I didn't even have his eyes open, maybe 3 days old. And I was like, mine, I'm taking him. I found him. He's mine forever. And yeah, he's my baby. He's my sweet boy. He's a big fat boy, but he's
Well, especially after you took a crowbar to take out the wall to get into him, that he's yours.
an angel. He's definitely sent to me.
Oh,
I love my boy.
I love it. I love how he stays around and just is in that energy. You have such an amazing energy and it just emanates through you. So I've just got to say it is beautiful. And I'm just so honored to be able to meet you and talk with you today.
You.
And then as you started going through this, the miracles, then you started, is that more when you started with the biofeedback? Because you had said you started kind of seeing the energy and different things in there using the biofeedback.
Actually, I did. That was 2008. I wasn't introduced to biofeedback till 2016.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I had a health opportunity for myself. And when that same doctor that I was telling you about had gotten some new technology, and they were like, oh, can I try this on you? And he did it on me, and I ended up getting it for myself. And was using it to help reverse some things going on with me physically at the time. And then I'm like, you know what? Everybody needs this. And just started utilizing it in my practice with other people as well. But yeah, it does show the field, and it has a lot of diagnostics on different things regarding, everything from hormones to chiropractic to brain activity to energetic things, like if maybe cell phones or Wi-Fi is like bothering your physical cells, or maybe cleaning supplies and sensitivities to environmental things, or mold or parasites or fungus, emotions we can look at. I mean, it gives you like 30 different areas of things that are going on and give you reports on what's out of balance and what needs attention. And then we customize different frequencies based on those diagnostics for the specific person. And we send them back long distance. And I thought, well, how can this be done long distance? But when he did it to me, I was in disbelief because I was like, oh yeah, sure, try this. It'll be fine. And he kind of forgot about it. And so I checked in. I'm like, hey, did you do that thing yet? And he was like, no. And then I was like, okay, well, just let me know. And he didn't let me know. And then like weeks later, I came home from work. I sat down on the couch, and all of a sudden I was like, whoa, I'm like super tired. Like I just felt like kind of like wobbly. And I told my husband, I'm like, I don't know I feel like pregnant tired, and I don't even like take naps. I don't sleep with the lights are on, like definitely don't sleep in the living room. And I just conked out. Like I was sitting up,
Uh,
conked out. My husband does this all the time. I don't know how, but I did it. And I'm like, what? And so when I woke up, I grabbed my phone real quick, and I'm just like, hey, did you just do that? And he had already texted me at 5 minutes to 2 and said, hey, I'm about to
uh,
do this to you, I'm about to turn it on. And I was like, whoa, that works. So, I mean, not everybody has the knockout. Like, the first two times for me, there was so much integration that I did get really, really tired, and I slept really well. But the third time actually had a total opposite. I was like running around, wired. I was doing things on my to-do list that I had put off for months. And I was just like, oh, check, 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 and getting rid of clothes and cleaning out all the closets and the
wow.
cabinets and the drawers. I was like, whoa, I love this. So yeah, it was pretty
That's
cool.
a great way to have the energy come in.
Absolutely.
So is that what you do with your bio? So if somebody contacted you and said, "Hey, I want to do a biofeedback. I know you've got ones. I just want to let people know I know there's some out there. They can contact you to have a session." So how does that work? What happens after they contact you?
Yeah, basically, I do have to gather some information to put into the software for us to get the diagnostics. And then once we get the reports, we usually do the diagnostics at night in case people are sleepy.
Uh,
And that, just so people can relax and chill out, and you don't have to be present, you don't have to be doing anything. We're doing everything from long distance. And once we get the reports, we send the person their reports with a link. And if they pay for a consultation, which I encourage strongly, especially the first time, then I will go over each report individually, just so you can understand how to read the report and be like, okay, this one says there's these emotions going on, and this is what we're working on clearing. Maybe there's some traumas locked in the body, or maybe there are parasites. Okay, so if it was something physical that I know we can work on energetically, I'm going to do that. But from a naturopath point of view, I'm also going to say, hey, let's kill these parasites. Let's take a supplement to do this, or let's do a cleanse, or if there's some physical things that we can implement, that is going to cross those things off the list faster and allow the energies that are sent to focus on more of the things that we cannot really pinpoint. So maybe you need more sleep, or you need to get grounded, or you need to take a vitamin D, or um, you need some magnesium, or, those are simple things that you can implement in your everyday practice that will kind of check off the list, so the energies can focus on stuff that maybe isn't as easy, maybe a pancreas issue, or, blah, 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 blah. So, but yeah, and then once we go over that, I do suggest to do at least 2 follow-up scans, because the way it works is it's entrainment, you know.
Yeah.
So when the frequencies are sent or the sound, it goes into the field, and basically your body eventually goes, oh yeah, this is what I'm doing. This is the new me. This is the rhythm, and it upgrades the frequency to the body. Um, and I look at it like training wheels on your bike. Like, I don't know if you ever had those little tiny things on the
Yeah.
back. You don't need to have those forever, but
Right.
if you have them for a bit just on the back, and then you finally get your rhythm and you're just like not leaning one way or the other, you're like, oh yeah, I know how to do this. You get rid of that, and you may have a couple tumbles, when
Yeah.
they're gone, but then you're like, oh yeah, this is balance. I got balance. I'm balanced, and you could just ride and have a good time.
I love that. And one of the things I'm really hearing from you is what I really love is people can start with you, get what they need, get everything underneath them. From what I'm hearing, and my team is also saying, the consultation is priceless because of the information that's shared in that consultation. It will help you understand what's going on, how to move yourself forward. And with you, it's all about helping people find the power within themselves and the capacity to heal themselves. And that's something so important. So I love, love, love what you're doing with the biofeedback. And then for people who don't do the biofeedback, you also have a lot of other ones they can just download and listen to. And how does that doing? And my team is going backwards. They're saying they think it's a really great idea that you're doing the biofeedback where you're giving that energy back towards nighttime because
Yeah.
it would really be not a fun time if it's a early Monday morning for someone.
Yeah. No, and like going back to what you said, our body is meant to heal, but sometimes there's interference for different things. Like there's a lack of something, and or there's a blockage, whether it's parasites or fungus or something environmental, whether it's EMFs or um, maybe there's mold in the house, or maybe you're using a deodorant that has aluminum in it and it's like making some blockage. There's so many things that we can look at to say, hey, let's look at the cleaning supplies, let's take the Febrezes out. There's some things, and because it'll show you if that's affecting you. Some people it doesn't affect at all, but sometimes we can look, and I get all the people who they've exhausted all their time and money already and looked at all the doctors and I get the mystery people who are like, look, no one can figure it out, can you help me? And I've been able to, like, my grandmother had fallen and she was all the way in Montana across the country, and doctors couldn't figure it out. I said, send me this and this. I was able to see to look, and with the software was able to see she's dehydrated and she has a UTI. And they're
Wow.
like, huh. And so they like checked it and they're like, how did you know that? I'm like, it's on the machine. It's not my psychic powers, although I think that's awesome. Um,
Right.
this is the science that we have. And I've also worked on people in Australia, England, wherever. My co-host for my podcast had a shoulder injury, and I had him hooked up and was working on him remote. And I had a patient come in, so I had to take him off for a minute, and I was going to put him back on after I worked on my patient. And he immediately texted me and was like, hey, did you just turn it off? And I was like, I'm telling you, like, this is real. I mean, and then some people don't feel any of it, and they're just like, is it on? Did it work? And I'm like, you might need a few times. But yes, that consultation is really important because the reports are a little bit hard to, I mean, it looks like just a bunch of numbers and colors and like a mad scientist kind of thing. And I know how to look at them. And once I get that time with you, I can go, this means this means that, and then in the future, if you ever do any, you'll know, oh, like this is better. This is what we're working on now. And you don't need, extra for that.
Love that. And you've been dabbling in this, and my team just wants to say something. Yes, you have been using your intuition wildly to take you down the right path of where you need to know and where you need to start looking for some of these people because you are given They're just laughing. The challenging people at times because they know intuitively you're going to know where to go. You're going to use your intuition and get you to the starting point where you need to be. So my team is giving you big accolades to say you are very in tune with everything, and for people to realize when they contact you and work with you, you're getting both the intuition of knowing where to start, knowing what to do, and that's so very important. You're very in tune with all of that. So they just wanted to let you know.
Thank you. Thank you.
And as you've been going down this, the other thing, um, there's another quote I had from your Facebook, I believe, says, "You are loved, you are honored, you are the creator of your own reality. In this space, you are respected, your thoughts, your dreams, your questions, they matter." And it says, "And you shape the world around you, and I am here to remind you of your power." And that's the biggest thing. I just feel such empowerment with you. You help give people back the power because you get the challenging people where they've run out of options and feel like they lost their power, and you're helping people gather that power back again. And as you're working with this, when you're doing the biofeedbacks, are you finding there's a lot of not just emotional, but also environmental or physical issues that people are dealing with? And how do you help them work through that?
Yeah, I mean, it will show if there's sensitivities. Like some people may have a sensitivity to a certain food, or maybe there's um, pesticides or herbicides or chemicals within the home that will literally show me like this is not a good fit for you. You know, maybe you need to change your soap out or your shampoos or something, it will, it's very specific. And so it'll tell me, because not everybody has the same sensitivities. Some people can
That's
be in whatever and it doesn't bother them and they're just fine, and then other people are very very sensitive to it. So I like that it is very specific and it can hone in, because a lot of times people are walking around and they're like sniffling or feel lethargic, or they can't lose that weight that they've been trying, and they're like not even eating and doing like all the things, but they're not getting the results that they're wanting. They're not sleeping well, they don't have energy, they're overweight, they or have no sex drive, or all the things that, like, those are probably the top things that I hear, is like not being able to sleep, not being able to lose weight, not feeling happy. A lot of people are depressed. It's like, or just feeling lost. A lot of times people feel that way because they have gut issues
yeah.
and their microbial situation is off, and or maybe because they're not sleeping well, and so that sets their hormones off, or maybe their hormones need to balance, so they're feeling really really emotional. So there's different things that we can look at and go like, you're not crazy, you're feeling this way because of this. And once we remove this, you're going to feel better. And it takes away the feeling of, just hopelessness. I know for me, when I was 7 years trying to find answers, I got to a point where I was just daggone depressed, because I was like, look, I've gone to all these doctors, I've spent all this money. I'm I'm on 33 meds. All of them
Oh,
had side effects, and I still didn't feel better. I was 80 pounds overweight. And what's crazy is there's this thing called conversion disorder, where a lot of times people will have physical issues because of emotional traumas. And
oh,
my pages for the emotions when I got my biofeedback was just like so many traumas and stuff that I didn't know about, stuff that I knew about. It doesn't matter. We can clear it without you having to do talk therapy. We can, there's so much. And once that was cleared, then my physical issues just kind of dissipated, and it's very very strange. Some of the people who tell me that they've had biofeedback will also have these other things that happen that are because of this, meaning money starts coming.
mm,
and or maybe the narcissistic boyfriend stopped calling finally and left him alone, and they're not stalking him anymore, and things like that. And it's like, well, why would that happen? Well, because if we can clear the psychic attack that comes up on some of the reports, and we can clear up cutting some of the cords,
Yeah.
and we can kill the parasites, because parasites will put out an energy into the field that basically says, hey, this person's a great host, come on over here and take advantage. So we kill the parasites. That cuts off the equation in the field for a match to happen. And those people can't come in anymore because that's gone. Or if the electronic frequencies are bringing the vibration down so low, we only get what we are. So we start collecting low vibration people and situations because we ourselves may be at a low vibration. So as we build up the field and increase the vibration and kill anything that would have a negative equation, that only sends us out a radiation, but also there's a magnet. And so we only get a magnet to the good things that are in the positive as well, because biofield, this is called bio because it's two, radiates and magnetizes. And so everything we put out, we're going to get a match to. So if we can clear out what's going on within the field,
Uh,
can put positivity in the field and we strengthen it, then we're going to start getting good things, good people, job opportunities, partnership, engagements, a new house, and maybe 5 times you've tried to bid on a house and like it keeps falling through, it keeps falling through. It's like all of a sudden you put the thing in and they ask for less money and you got the thing, and it's like, or maybe that person's owed you money for 2 decades and randomly they just send you a check and you're like, what is this about? It's like, because the field changed, this changed, and now there was an entry point that they can like meet up with.
I love that. And I hear from them. You're speaking to so many people's souls because so many people are trying to take care of their own stuff and they really don't have time to concentrate on what they want. And now the ability to clear out their own things and to have the ability to do it, because a lot of people just don't know how, and you're giving people that pathway to clear that out, then opens yourself up to the science of miracles. And that's your book, The Science of Miracles, how things will just start flowing into you, flowing in ways you never expected. Because I love the science of miracles because there's so many people out here, they're black and white. And that's awesome. People should be, there's both. There's the ones that are always have, up here and believe everything, just let it go. But there's the real world that there's bills, there's money that has to be paid, and to be able to navigate that and know you can let that in, I think is total freedom for so many people. I think that's what you're really doing is you're giving people personal freedom. And as you've been doing that, you've got so many other things you offer people. I'm just going to go through a little line quick of things that I had listed on there. It was the consult, the hyperbaric chamber, which I'm assuming that's in person. Red light therapy, biomat therapy, terahertz wave therapy, raindrop therapy, biofeedback therapy, ozone therapy, the Rife frequency therapy. What is that?
Yeah, Rife is a guy who basically found out that every dis-ease has a frequency, every organ has a frequency. So if the organ is low in frequency, it will cause a dis-ease, a side effect. And so if we can increase the frequency of the organ, then it has more life and more vitality and it thrives. And so, but that's part of the biofeedback. That's one of the part of the invention of sending those frequencies, except for it's remote. And Rife, he had created it to be in person, and biofeedback used to be in person, but now we've amped up our game and we can actually send it long distance, which again, my left brain was like, how is that going to happen? But I was riding in my Jeep and the satellite went out. And so I called the 800 number and they're like, oh, pull over, turn this off. This guy was in India and he's like, pull over, do this, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to beam this thing to you. And I was like, what? And I turned the car back on and my radio worked. And then later my direct TV went out. Same thing. I called, I got this guy in, I think Singapore or something, and He's just like barely speaking English, and he's like, "Oh, do this, and this. And I'm going to beam this to you." I'm like, "What?" And like my TV came back on. So I'm like, "Oh, I needed that so I can realize how this works for me." It's like we're doing this all the time. I mean, we're
Yeah.
streaming right now. This,
Yeah.
even though we don't see it, it doesn't mean it's not there, And so yes, it's really cool. And a lot of those things you mentioned are in real life, but I do workshops and I have online stuff. I teach muscle testing and liver cleanses and outcome mapping, and all of those are available as far as, just learning at your house, and you don't even have to fly to come see me or do anything. Um, but yeah, it's been quite fun. And something else that happened out of that encounter is when I hear people talk, I can usually find the snag in conscious language and or body language. And so even with just a consultation without the biofeedback, usually within 5 minutes, I can go, this is the issue. And then we find a solution really quickly. There's practice with that, and we'll outcome map with that. And then people get miracles. I mean, 100%.
I love that. And this is a time. It's a time of loving yourself, and that's the other thing is it is the frequency of love and loving yourself and seeing yourself. I just keep hearing they just keep saying seeing yourself as healthy and having miracles happen to you just is a beautiful frequency that you offer so many people, and I just can't thank you enough for all you're doing. And I know we're getting short on time, and I know I've got to get you out of here. Is there something you'd like to say before we close today?
Yeah, I just thank you so much for what you're doing. Appreciate your work. And if anyone is watching and you're like, you felt stuck and you felt like in some sort of pattern that you were like, oh my gosh, how do I get out? I would love to help. If you go to my website right now, I just uploaded about a week ago a free class. And so if you
Oh,
go to the website, it'll tell you all, there's a thing that says like, hey, put your email here and you get this free class. It'll teach on how to clear trauma, right from your own house. You could just do some things, abracadabra. And then there's also on my website, if those of you are interested in ozone therapy at home, this is something that I think everyone should have in their house is ozone and ozone therapy, because it does so many different things. And there's a part on my website that literally says, tell me more about ozone therapy at home. You put in your information and it'll send you videos and explanations and things on how to order that for yourself and see results in your own family. This is, I mean, that and biofeedback are like my biggest fun things that I'm seeing the biggest results with right now.
I love that. I love that. And thank you so much, Charnel. So for those out there, Dr. Sharnael Wolverton Sehon, go to her website, drsharnael.com. It's DRSHARNAEL.com. And the links will be down below. Find her on all the other social media. She has so much great information. Look up her books and the books, The Science of Miracle, Remembering the Frequency of Light. That's what I'm going to go check out some more. So thank you so much. And I just want to thank you so much, Dr. Charnel. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time, your knowledge, and I just thank you. I just love you've got such beautiful energy. Thank you so much. So, for all of the rest of you out there, please go ahead and check out her information, go to her website, and thank you all for watching. Make sure to watch the next episodes of Edge Talk Radio. They are on the first and third Wednesdays of the month at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you've missed any of the past episodes, no worries. You can listen to the downloadable podcast on pretty much all of the podcast areas. Also, you can go to YouTube and watch the interview there, and also watch all of past YouTube interviews there. So I just want to thank all of you. Thank you all for watching, listening, sharing, expanding our universe and amplifying our universe together. Thank you so much, and I wish you all an absolutely beautiful day. Thank you.